who's really in control of your life? Are you in complete control of your life? Do you own every decision? Do you have the ability to change everything in your life? Things happen that are outside of your control.
The reason I'm dressed this way is because I saw The Pursuit of Happiness, Will Smith's 2006 movie, The Pursuit of Happiness. And he mentioned something in there that Thomas Jefferson threw in the Declaration of Independence, you know, the pursuit of happiness. And he said he mentions it a couple of times. And it's true. Some people pursue happiness for a long, long time. Very long time. And some people never find it. But what I'm talking about now is, man, I gotta admit, I am almost tired of trying.
The American public is bleeding and saying, is there truly anyone out there that understands the suffering that we are going through?
This year, the retirement program is now projected to pay out nearly $29 billion more in benefits than it collects in taxes.
Foreclosure crisis that we're seeing all throughout the country, banks deciding that they're going to start foreclosing on people's homes again.
Now people talk about, hey, if you go with a big company or if you go with a certain type of company.
3,000 employees, and now a lot of those are laid off or transferred or working for different companies. It's had a devastating effect.
You look at the numbers that Tom is talking about and that we're all seeing across the country.
Unemployment is, through the roof.
This has to have a major impact on consumers and the economy.
Okay, we can't make this stuff up. They're killing us. They're killing us. I'm out of work. I don't know how I'm going to afford to live.
For over 20 years, Social Security collected more money in payroll taxes than it paid out in benefits, but not anymore.
And many of the retirees are wondering whether their pension benefits are secure. Their savings are certainly not secure, and there's a lot of uncertainty.
So, thinking about job security?
Jack Timmer, who worked for 27 years and retired 2 years ago, lost $350,000 in his 401k. Timmer had to hang up his fishing pole and return to work. He now makes minimum wage driving and loading trucks for a...
What do you do if you lose your job? I've lost a job before.
People work in the 9-to-5 world and feel a sense of security from that and don't want to venture out on their own because they don't want to lose that security, are really laboring under an illusion.
Yeah, there really is no such thing as job security. I don't care who you are.
Don't worry about me. Someday you road skinners will all be saying Joe Fabini's a good guy to work for. And I will be. No doubt about that, kid. But me, I'll take the salary and let someone else have the worry. That's the easy way.
There's no real security when you are working for somebody else. When somebody else sets your pay, when somebody else sets your hours, when somebody else even decides whether or not you continue working there.
Now, but we don't see that as something brought by our education into our everyday conduct. We've got a system of schooling which gives a completely different impression. It's all graded. And what we do is we put the child into the corridor of this grade system with a kind of, come on, kitty, kitty, kitty. And yeah, you go to kindergarten, you know. That's a great thing because when you finish that, you'll get into first grade. And then come on, first grade leads to second grade and so on, and then you get out of grade school, you've got high school, and it's revving up, the thing is coming. Then you're going to go to college, and by Jove, then you get into graduate school, and when you're through with graduate school, you go out to join the world. And then you get into some racket where you're selling insurance, and they've got that quota to make, and you're going to make that, and all the time, this thing is coming. It's coming, that great thing, the success you're working for. Then when you wake up one day about 40 years old, you say, my God, I've arrived. I'm there. And you don't feel very different from what you always felt. And there's a slight letdown because you feel there's a hoax. And there was a hoax, a dreadful hoax. They made you miss everything by expectation. Look at the people who live to retire and put those savings away. And then when they're 65, they don't have any energy left, they're more or less impotent, and they go and rot in an old people's, senior citizens community. because we've simply cheated ourselves the whole way down the line. We thought of life by analogy with a journey, with a pilgrimage. We had a serious purpose at the end, and the thing was to get to that end. Success or whatever it is, or maybe heaven after you're dead. But we missed the point the whole way along. It was a musical thing, and you were supposed to sing or to dance while the music was being played.
In an increasingly flat world, to coin the phrase of economist Thomas Friedman, the 9-to-5 attitude is already obsolete. Now, the challenge is that a lot of people who are not wealthy tried to lead the lifestyle of the wealthy before they have the financial backing to be able to do so, trying to impress people they don't know with money they don't have.
Value this time in your life, kids, because this is the time in your life when you still have your choices. And it goes by so fast. When you're a teenager, you think you can do anything, and you do. Your 20s are a blur. 30s, you raise your family, you make a little money, and you think to yourself, what happened to my 20s? 40s, you grow a little pot belly, you grow another chin. The music starts to get too loud. One of your old girlfriends from high school becomes a grandmother. 50s, you have a minor surgery. You'll call it a procedure, but it's a surgery. 60s, you'll have a major surgery. The music is still loud, but it doesn't matter because you can't hear it anyway. 70s, you and the wife retire to Fort Lauderdale. Start eating dinner at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. You have lunch around 10, breakfast the night before. Spend most of your time wandering around malls looking for the ultimate soft yogurt and muttering, how come the kids don't call? How come the kids don't call? In the 80s, you'll have a major stroke. You end up battling with some Jamaican nurse who your wife can't stand, but who you call mama. Any questions?
Your few freedoms are preserved because they are profitable to your owners.
Look in a mirror. Go to the nearest mirror and look in it. And what do you see? Do you see a happy, optimistic, smiling person? Or do you see someone with frowns and distress and all that sort of thing? Because I'm telling you, and it is more and more true the older we get. The lives we lead are evidenced by the expressions we wear on our faces. Our faces become the signatures of the lives we lead. And that is why you can tell someone who's a jovial, happy, easy-go-lucky person, and you can contrast them so readily from someone who's sour and miserable and always complaining and nothing ever works out for them. In fact, you can do it as you walk down the street. You can say, modestly happy person or very angry person, sour, bitter, or they're happy, they're smiley. Try it sometime. Say hello to someone, smile at them and wave and say hello. I know it sounds goofy, just try it, just do it. You'll be surprised how many people think that you're kooky or that you're making a pass at them or something like that, and occasionally you'll find someone who just smiles back. I'll never forget the first time I went to Fiji. I arrived there, I was traveling through the countryside. There'd be people in the fields, and they'd stop whatever they were doing, and they'd put their hands up high and they'd be waving away and they'd have these huge big grins. They have these big white shiny teeth and they'd be looking at you waving, and I thought, this person has stopped doing what they were doing, and they're waving for what seems like an extraordinarily long time, a minute or 1.5 minutes. They're obviously a little bit spastic, or they're a little bit funny, and they're put out in the field because that's the only place where they can't do any damage. But then I saw so many people just stopping what they're doing and waving. I thought they have a lot of funny people here, until I realized after a few days when I'd intermingled with the locals that they're just genuinely happy. And when they see someone go by, they just want to wave. So much that they invite you into their homes. Whatever's theirs is yours. They share. In fact, I would go further and say it is my observation from having traveled, as I've told you, to over 90 countries, that in general, the poorer people are, the fewer things they have, the happier they are. And I know that sounds like a pitch to divest yourself of everything you've got so that you can have a state of total happiness. That's not the point. I'm just asking you, what is it about all our possessions that makes us so miserable? And what can we do to have the good of all the possessions that we've got without having the burden of the miserableness that tends to go hand in hand with it? Very interesting observation. I encourage you to think long and hard about these things. Write down what it is that you want to achieve. Where do you want to be living in 5 years' time? How do you want to be spending every day? And if you're going to be bold and say, well, I want to play golf every day from 9 till 2, and then I want to have a flight in my private helicopter, and I mean, that's fine. But you've got to come up with a plan of action as to how you're going to achieve that. And I'm telling you, even if that is your plan, and you have a plan of action, you're likely to achieve it. And you're certainly much more likely to achieve it if you have this plan written down than if you don't have the plan and just have this notion, wouldn't it be nice to play golf every day? I'm telling you, there are people who play golf every day. They might be coaches or instructors, or they might have set up a golf course. You can do that too if you want to. I'd go further and say, here's a challenging question. What would you do if you had to do it for 8 hours every day, 7 days a week? And before you say, play golf, or go water skiing, or go snow skiing, ask yourselves, 8 hours every day, day in, day out. And I can tell you, for me, I would be happy as anything looking at real estate deals, because I love that. I love seeing the twists. I love seeing what other people have overlooked. I love seeing what I can turn it into. I would do that for 8 hours every day with pleasure, and the benefit for me is that it would be highly lucrative too. Now, I don't know if you could play golf every day for 8 hours and make it lucrative unless you were in demand as a golf instructor. That could be, but you've got to figure out what is it that you want to do and how are you going to get there. So please make the effort. Again, pause the program, stop it, spend an hour if need be, writing down in as much detail as you can muster where it is you want to be, geographically, spiritually, financially, and then how are you going to get there? What are you going to do? What sacrifices are you willing to make in order to help yourself get there? Or another way of looking at it is, who do you have to become in order to live the life that you want to lead? Because I dare say you're not that person yet. If you were that person, you would already be leading that life. The reason why you're not leading your dream life is because right now you're the wrong person for that life. You have to make some changes. You have to make some adaptations.